Good morning. So good to be back with everyone, and thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. I'm back with my man, Matt, as many of you have come to know and love. So good to see you, Matthew.
Good to see you too, Bill.
Yeah, welcome. Matt and I, we're both lovers of football. Fall screams football, right? And I remember I was recollecting recently, as Matt and I were talking about the show today, how when I was in high school, my senior year in high school, we weren't very good. And we first week of the year, we lost the game. We were shut out. So the following week, we come into practice on Monday, and our coach announced, you were so bad, we're implementing a new offense. And we went from what was a pro set to a wing T. Well, we went out and scored 0 points again in week 2. So what did we do the next week?
Change the offense?
Change the offense again. We went to like a wishbone, and we didn't score any points. So week 4, new offense. That happened for the first 6 weeks of the year. Think about that.
Wow.
As a quarterback, how would that make you feel if you changed the offense every week?
Well, I don't remember much of my playing days.
Too many concussions?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So Matt has game brain. Don't look to him for answers. But we changed our offense, meaning we started over, started new foundation, new formations, new execution, new plays every week because we had failure. Rather than going back and recommitting to doing things right, we started over, and it didn't lead to success. And when Matt and I work with salespeople too often, we find people that aren't having the results they want, so they go back looking and seeking that magic bullet. They go back and say, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to start something new, versus recommitting to what we know success looks like and recommitting to the process.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if it was last week or the week before. It was probably a hit that I took, but we talked about how this was the trap season, right? This is definitely a trap. And don't start in January what you want to do and what you want to change. And I've been on the soapbox a little bit this past week, and even this week, talking to people about, what's the focus area, the 21 days to build a habit. So my big thing is, don't start in January, start right now. Let's work through it. Let's make it a habit by then. And it mystifies me as I ask, so what's that habit? What are those things that you want to work on? And everybody is searching for this magic bullet, and, stray so far from probably what we've talked about for an extended period of time through the year. And, I'll be like, let me ask you this. Let's pull out your scorecard, or let's take a look at those last 2 deals we talked about. Clear next step.
Yeah. Did you have a clear next step in place?
Yeah.
Oh, I had a next step. Yeah, I have a next step.
And so what it's all about is don't overlook the fundamentals. And I tell people all the time in our system or our methodology that it's not in sexy, it's not in new, it's not in shiny. It's of which the consistency that we can do the fundamentals. And I think sometimes that bothers people because they're like, all right, what's level 15.5 or
right.
The next one? And it's just simply, we don't have to overcomplicate it. We could keep it very simple. And these are things that continuously work, that are versatile. It's not robotic. It's not something that we have to rehearse and have a script or a talk track of all right, let me refer back to that. He said this, so I need to make sure to do that. No, it's a system that allows you to be yourself. So here I am going on a tangent.
No, but I think
it's on my soapbox.
It's dead on because, let's go back to the fundamentals. What's our baseline fundamental? It's simple. Sales is something we do for somebody, not to somebody. So if I'm helping somebody, how can I best help somebody? Well, I need to know what their problem is. So I need to ask great questions. I need to listen. I need to extend invitations to conversation. So before we go out solving problems, we need to understand the current situation. We need to understand why, right? And I just literally got off the phone before we came in the room here to film. I just got off the phone with somebody who was asking me about a problem with somebody on their team. And I walked them through this, here's some of the questions I might ask. Here's how I might get them to own it. You were listening to this a little bit probably because I was wandering around the office as I did it. And he said to me, this is a seasoned sales leader, wonderful guy with a very bright future. He said, man, I used to do this when I was selling all the time. I'm really good at doing this in front of customers. He said, I'm great at helping customers share with me what their problem is. I'm great at getting customers to own what a solution looks like, what success looks like, right? I'm great at that. He goes, why do I fall down as a leader? It's because we're straying from the basics. We're straying from the fundamentals. We need to learn. We need to listen with some intentionality. We need to extend invitations to conversation about the things that matter. We need to stay consistent within the process and know where we are in the process. Are we in the assess phase where we're trying to learn and learn and learn? And if we are, what are the things we're trying to learn? It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Right? For us, it's BANT. We want to understand, FANT. How about that? It's understanding the financial implications of the situation and what impact our solution has. It's about understanding the authority. What's that authority or decision process look like inside the business? We just had a conversation with somebody today that had been trained up in another system. And I said, how do you understand who a decision maker is? And they said, I come out and ask them. I say, is it your decision?
Pull their pants up a little bit, whatever.
Push the chest out a little bit. So tell me, are you the decision maker? Do you have the authority to sign this? And I said, I'm going to reverse that on you. Let's role play. Let me ask you that question. And when I asked it back to him, I said, how does that make you feel? And every time we do that, every time we ask somebody, do you have the authority to sign this? Is this your decision to make? Everybody always says, well, it didn't feel that great. Yet we're doing it. We have a lot of people out there in the world of sales doing it. We don't do that. Walk me through the process. How consistently are you asking that question? How consistently are you saying, Matt, if this makes sense, if this were a solution that you thought could help the business, what happens next? Can you walk me through the process? If you're not asking that, don't expect to have great outcomes because you're not going to know who we need to engage. We're not going to know how to engage. We're not doing a favor for our coach inside the business by letting them self-discover the things they need to do. It's fundamentals. Stick to the process. Stick to the process. Understand the FANT. Understand the financial implications. Understand the authority. What's the decision process look like? Understand the need. Why now? Why us? Understand the timeline. When we get through that and we get to an end of a meeting, clear next steps. We can't leave meetings without clear next steps. Clear next steps are very different than next steps. Why? Clear next steps are very specific. They're time-bound and
show up on two people's calendars.
That's right. They show up on two people's calendars. So if you don't have something calendared, if you haven't sent out an Outlook invite, you don't have a clear next step.
So, we believe in FANT, obviously. That's the acronym that we use as pillars. I happen to write down 5 things to check for that are part of it.
Matt and his stats.
Here's
more
not necessarily
stats from Matt.
Not stats, but things to look for. And you mentioned some of them already. Where I feel that some salespeople fall down or often are areas that we should revisit. Looking at the fundamentals, you mentioned living in discovery, getting into discovery, figuring out what's important, and there are so many salespeople out there that love the small talk, the chit chat, the hey, we're building rapport. We built rapport. We're feeling really good because we were building rapport for like 45 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Well, were you building rapport, or did you not necessarily know what to do because it was a person that had a different personality or really hit it off with you?
By the way, I've been in those meetings, and what happens is you build rapport, which is really talking about sports or fishing or whatever it might be, for 45 minutes, and then what happens? We have an hour scheduled, and we're like, so hey, let me tell you why we're great.
Yep.
Right. And then we rush through that. 13 minutes in, the guy's like, well, hey, thanks so much. I have to go to another meeting. And we're like, yeah, I'll follow up and schedule some more time with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So are we agenda setting? Super fundamental. It happens at the beginning of the process, beginning of the meeting, but don't underestimate the impact of that. So take some time and analyze, am I agenda setting, or am I walking in and being a little bit loose with that? We like to talk about, but most importantly, what were you hoping to achieve, or what were you hoping to accomplish as part of the agenda setting? And not too often do we say, use this language. We like people to be the first-rate version, of themselves, and not a second-rate version of somebody else. But hey, most importantly, what were you looking to achieve? What were you looking to make sure that we cover? It's a great way to diffuse bombs and to get into discovery. So are we agenda setting, and are we doing it in a structured way that starts getting into the professional, building trust, not fish on the wall salesperson. So that's number one.
And what that might sound like is, hey, thanks for your time. We said we had 60 minutes. Is that still good for you today? Yes. Great. I was hoping we could cover this and this. I'm sure you're going to have questions for me before we get started. What were you hoping we could accomplish today?
Yep. Bingo. So very good. Number two, you mentioned it when we talk about the authority and not necessarily decision makers, but decision-making process, because we believe that decision makers fit in to decision process, and people aren't necessarily, decisions aren't made in a vacuum or that corner office. And we've talked a lot about that. So some other language we love to figure that out is walk me through your process.
What happens next? Walk me through the process.
Yeah, if you're not asking that, that's most likely a missed opportunity. And I don't care what industry or what type of sales cycle. That's just great language that we found. So agenda setting, walk me through your process. You mentioned clear next steps, specific time-bound show up on 2 calendars. That's usually something that starts to go a little bit, and you hear that, but the challenge that I usually throw out to the people that I coach is, give me a scenario where we shouldn't get a clear next step. I've yet to find one, and I don't know however many years. I usually just make a number of years up that I've been working here, because it seems like I forget.
A while. It's been a long time.
It's been a while. But clear next steps and make sure it's on the calendar. That's the aspect that most people forget or a little tentative. So you're talking about a deal. You're a sales manager. Great. Where can I find your clear next step on the calendar?
That's right. It's not a sometimes, it's an all the time. It's not optional. It's mandatory. We never leave a meeting without a clear next step.
Yep. So that was number 3 for me. Number 4 in the questions that we ask, but just going back to one thing questions. We continuously talk about those on this, I guess, called a show on this show, but they are
loosely.
Yeah. They are so powerful. One thing questions. What's the one thing that might slow us down? What's the one thing that's going to be important to VP Vince when this proposal goes on his desk? What's the one reason when we come back on Tuesday you wouldn't say yes to us? They're again versatile, but they get to the truth. So if we're not asking at least one thing question every single meeting, we're probably missing some impact and missing discovery.
It's a great point. One thing questions are very different than anything questions, right? Somebody today in role play through coaching and training said to me, I asked him about, how you identify where you are, what you might do in the pipeline. And he said, well, I might ask somebody and say, is there any reason you wouldn't work with us? Or is there any reason we couldn't get this done this quarter? I said, hey, great question. Let me throw it back at you. Let's role play. And I asked a question back of him. I said, now contrast that with, what's the one reason we wouldn't be able to get this done in the fourth quarter? And he said, that feels a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
one thing questions versus anything questions.
And then finally, proposal draft reviews. Again, fundamentals. We can never talk about them too much, but those are something too that starts to slide a little bit. Wow, that client's far away, or that client didn't get the warm and fuzzy. I don't know if they're super interested. When you start straying off a process and using gut instinct and making assumptions, it's no longer predictable.
That's right. And what's the biggest reason people skip PDRs, proposal draft reviews? I think the number one reason they skip them, I know the number one reason I skip them, if I ever fall out of process and I get lazy, is because things are going good, right? Because somebody's giving us the warm fuzzy saying, send me the proposal. I want to sign it and send it back to you.
Yep.
What happened to us the last time I did that? The last time I sent a proposal to somebody, which was about 4 weeks ago, sent them a proposal, moving fast, really excited. Can you get this to me tomorrow? Because I want to get it signed so we're launched by Friday.
Yep.
Still haven't talked to them.
Yeah, I had to put them in sales timeout.
Yeah, right? I went into sales timeout. I sent it back, and next thing you know, we're back into silence. So, Matt, great job. I like stats with Matt better than Matt's things to think about. So we'll go through that. So thank you for sharing some stats with Matt. Thank you all for being with us and recommitting. My ask of you this week is please recommit to the process, recommit to the foundation, recommit to the fundamentals that we know work. You know they work. Don't lie to yourself and say, I need a new system. Don't go changing the offense Monday. Recommit to the right things. And I know you're going to have success in Q4. We know you're going to set yourself up for success in Q1. Be committed. Be consistent. All right. Let's go get them. Have a great week. Thanks for everything. Take care and God bless.